Welcome back to Nicholas Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classics. Sorry about the glare. It's my forehead. My forehead's shiny here. Okay, we're discussing episode number. We're basically doing episode 25, 47, Doubleshot 2441. Those who know us immediately, Nick, where's your Santa hat? Don't normally. I just decided to stop wearing it today. Yeah. Alright. We're discussing issues from kind of two different series, but the reason I'm discussing the other one because it's part of the storyline here, and I'm talking about one epic collection. First up, we're talking about Defenders Volume 2 and The Order, the first volume for Order. There was a second volume published by Matt Fraction in 2007. I'll discuss that at a later point. Don't worry about that, but excuse me. Written and the creative team behind this book is quite interesting. It's Kurt Busiek and Eric Larson. Eric Larson, from what I can tell, this is part of his very brief return he did for Marvel Comics in the early 2000s. Because he did this book, he did Nova, he did New Warriors, and I think that was it. Now, this book is surprisingly, it's a reunion of the original Defenders, with new members being returning like Hellcat, Nighthawk, Valkyrie, and Clay is also part of this group too. Mostly put it's like the group battling some supernatural threats like they normally do, like battling the monsters from Doctor Strange. It's an overall really fun run. Yeah, there's not really a bad issue this whole entire run. It is quite shocking, the fact they actually had this reunion. Yeah, Eric Larson, I think, was just Nova, this book, and I think New Warriors was like the only books he did for Marvel during his very brief return he did for Marvel Comics. Oh, excuse me. He also worked on Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, and he did another review from Going Big One Shot. Yep. Oh yeah, he also worked on Fantastic Four, Wolverine, and Nova. This is basically, you can think of it as a very, very brief return from Marvel Comics. That lasted for a year. Yeah, and pretty much basically this later led to the whole miniseries led to the four members of the Defenders being brainwashed to try to take over the world as the Order. Yep. The Order is simply put just the original Defenders, basically separate group. It's still Defenders anyways, but the Order itself, done the same creative team, Kurt Busiek and Eric Larson. Another really fun book. Not a bad issue this whole series. Yeah. Not really much else to say. It's basically like, what do you expect for Defenders? I appreciate Kurt Busiek basically reigniting the classic nostalgia that it is basically Defenders. Basically them battling like old school monsters who've been around comics for years. It's a really fun book. And here's a shocker for you when it comes to this book. Did you know this book is not in trade? Some of you are thinking, really? It isn't? Yeah, as far as I can tell, I do not know the reason for this. It's quite strange. Is this a bad series? No, it isn't. It's actually really good. And with this, pretty much basically, I have capped off my review for Defenders. This is my final thoughts for Defenders, well, kind of for now. I love the original volume. It had some low points after the first few years of the book, but the book itself was really good the first volume. I just started with the second volume. Third volume was really good, really good reunion for Defenders. It's interesting, though, that this was also the last ongoing series Defenders for 9 years. Excuse me, yes, there was a miniseries in 2005, which probably a few years after this, but that's just a miniseries and ongoing. They did, of course, bring us back in 2011 by I think it was a 12 issue by Matt Fraction, though that run was later deemed to be not canon due to the fact the final issue retconned the whole entire run. Me. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly why Fraction F4. Why was it that basically when the run finished up, it's like, oh, let's undo the entire run and retcon it where that particular run was set in a different universe. And after that series wrapped up, of course, that series came off the heels of Fear Itself, The Deep, which later led to that particular run. Of course, before that, the Defenders last appeared in a 3-issue story arc in the pages of Hulk Volume 2 by Jeff Loeb. Of course, that particular run came out in 2009, roughly a few years after the original Defenders' last appearance, though that was mostly the Hulk team with time to splice versions of the founding members Defenders to take on Red Hulk's Offenders, which comprised things like Tiger Shark, Atuma, and Red Hulk, and I think it was Baron Mordo, I think it was, yes. The Offenders, which surprisingly this group was never returned after 3 parts direct. But then, of course, basically, after the 2011 series wrapped up, we later had the Bendis Netflix style Defenders book, and that lasted for 10 issues. And the only reason why that I think was canceled because Bendis jumped to DC. That's the only reason why it was canceled. Was it a terrible series? No, it was not. It was really good. It was really good. And sad enough, the team itself would next appear, that version, would later appear in the pages of The Man with Fear miniseries by Jen McKay. The original Defenders would return in another volume released just a couple years ago by Al Ewing. And this book was a lot of fun. I love this book. And then that was later continued as Defenders Beyond. Same creative team, Al Ewing. Basically a lot of fun, tongue-in-cheek stuff. Yeah, and that's the last we have for Defenders. With this, I'm pretty much on Defenders. Now, I originally had decided Web Spider-Man was going to replace Black Panther, but I figured that Black Panther would be better here. I mean, why not? I mean, in the case of Venom, Web of Spider-Man replacing that with the Venom stuff. Yes. Now, I have gone through for Venom all the ongoing stuff since 2001, but the 90s stuff I have not got through the entirety of just yet. Yep. So, yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Next up is going to be... I almost forgot. Idiot. This has happened to me before. So, next up is going to be the 3rd Epic Collection for Excalibur. Yep. Known as Girls' School from Heck. Which is probably just a way to say it's not Girls' School from Hell. I get the reason why. It's more of because basically a book trying to sell, so that's the reason for that. So, the right issues to these issues, publish the book, which, by the way, the book collects issues 31 to 41 of Excalibur, along with the World War III one-shot, The Possession, and Heir Apparent. And it does contain a couple other issues. The Excalibur story from Marvel Comics number 75 and Central She-Hulk number 26. Your writers are Scott Lobdell, Chris Claremont, Michael Higgins, Skyman Foreman, Sue Flaxman, and Dinah Morshead. The artwork is now by Dave Ross, Ron Wagner, met this guy, Tom Morgan, Brian Hitch, gonna be this guy hopefully in a couple months, Mark Badger, Dave Hover, Gavin Curtis, Ron Lim, Brian Serflees, met this guy, great guy, person, Dwayne Turner, Boots Goots, Rick Lenardi, Eric Larson, James Fry & Co. The front cover we saw, that was Walt Simonson and Veronica Gucci, and the back cover is Steve Lighty and Avalanche Alan Troy. Andy Troy, excuse me. The book itself covers the time period of November of 1990 and concludes in November of 1989. What? That must have been a typo. Yeah, I think that's a typo. It's actually supposed to be Yeah, this is weird. Of why it says it. I think this must be like saying like it's November 1989. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. I think this was a typo on their part because I'm not kidding about that. It literally says November 1989. I am not making it up. Either that's a typo or that's when the book came out. Now, of course, in this book we have the X-Men show up, where Rachel Gray reunites with her dead mom, who's alive. And of course, basically, she just turns off on her mom, where she basically doesn't want anything to do with her. And of course, Wolverine likes basically her guts, so another on everybody. Very interesting stuff here, but the book has good artwork for the start of it. It has okay artwork, like what is up with this with the faces? Yeah, the faces for the first issue is really, really weird. Like Nightcrawler looks really good. Dave Ross does a really good job with Nightcrawler. It looks too plastic. Like, ugh. Like Brian Balak looks ugly. That was just the opening issue. Then we have Girl School from Heck. This is a 3-part that covers issues 32, 34. And this has much better artwork. It's mostly put a gender-bent storyline. Where, like, all the males are turning to women. For, like, one issue. The artwork does actually get a lot better in the very next issue. Oh my gosh. It's like, because you have Ron Wagner in the artwork, which I'm like, thank you. And after that storyline wraps up, then we have the World War III story. This is one done by Michael Higgins and Tom Morgan. This artwork, I love this artwork. It's actually better than the main series. And the thing is, I kind of wish this artist would have done the main series. I mean, nothing against Ron Wagner, but that's what I think you say. It's mostly put just a good one-shot, just deals with potentially World War III battling some other threats. It's typical Excalibur stuff, but a really good one-shot. A very long one-shot, mind you, but still. After the thing finally gets wrapped up, then we move on to Marvel Comics number 75, where it's just basically about Megan and Shadowcat for an issue. Which I like the art with this one. Then we move over to Sensational She-Hulk. And this is my Simon Furman. We'll probably discuss more about this run in the future. But it's just basically She-Hulk interacting with Excalibur for an issue. Why not? And then we have a flashback to when Rachel Summers was basically, well, part of the whole stuff with future stuff, which I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And then we have Dave Ross doing a much better artwork in issue number 36. They have this guy called Tanique, who's part of the Poetic Exchange. And oh boy. Yeah. Here comes, quite possibly, this 3-parter. Oh my gosh. This art by Mark Badger is horrible. Like, Taylor Kelly draws Doctor Doom. The colors look fine, but my gosh. Like, wow. This storyline, I was not a fan of the artwork. It just looked horrible. And so far, after reviewing this stuff here, this has quite possibly the worst artwork of the whole series. It's almost like the editor just did not care about good quality artwork. But you know something nice though? Issue 40 has got much better artwork than this. Yeah, because he has the previous story, Lockhead's in the hospital and basically has to try to survive. Yeah, he goes to the sexual surgery and saves his life. But yeah, I love 41. It's really good. Yeah, then we have a reunion with the X-Men again, which is the issue where Kitty turns off on her mom. This was actually really good. And it supposedly leads into, well, actually, then Alan Davis returns, but never that issue. But then we have The Possession, which this is a book that Michael Higgins, he writes and letters it with Tom Morgan, the artwork. Another really good another book with really good artwork. What seems interesting, how like, it seems as though so far, anyways, the one shots that got the better artwork. I found this book really good. Yeah, and then after that we have the special edition one, which is another one which has got really good artwork. Yes, which proves my point. The one shots have got better artwork than the main book. Most of this one is basically Excalibur with Shield for a one shot. And then we have the Heir Apparent one shot. And that's it. Good book overall. But my gosh. Issues 37 and 37, 39. Man, the artwork of these issues was horrible. Yep. So yeah, that's particular view. Next episode, another comic corner until the ReZero. Okay, next view. Bye.